Sleeping is for losers.
Yeah,
What are you?
that's
You're very dumb. Look at you. You gotta keep drinking. You gotta keep drinking. Come
If
on.
you sleep, you lose.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Top,
Top
5
5
with Frick and Ferretti.
Woo! Woo-hoo-hoo. Yeah, we're going to be doing top fives each week. We're going to come in. We're going to talk about our top 5 favorite things, different subjects. You're going to be able to decide on some of the subjects here and
Right.
there. We got some very specific subjects tonight that we have, though.
In this episode, we have the top 5 worst things we got drunk to as kids.
Yeah,
All right?
and I have some really good stories on that front.
All right, well, go ahead. Lead the charge. Go ahead.
Okay, so the most recent one I'm not going to say right now. The most recent one, I'm a little older because I've gotten drunk recently. So as a
He's
kid,
actually shit-faced right now, folks. He's actually drunk right now.
I am drunk right now. My first time getting drunk, I was 16. I was 16.
Okay.
It was an after party for a theater, some show we were doing. We were doing a production of Brave New World, Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. That's besides the point. We had a party for the end of the show, a cast party, at this very, very wealthy girl's house. Her parents, very wealthy. Her father let us use the basement, but that's where the wet bar was. So I decided to take it upon myself. I was like, I'm going to take some of this alcohol here. And it was vodka at first, because that's what I took out first. Right. And then I drank, like, it was the first time I drank. So I drank way too much at this. It was like really bad vodka too. It was like Crystal Palace or something like that. So we go home, and they have to sneak me out of the house. They have to sneak me out of the house and not let anyone know that I'm drunk. And they get me into the car. It's a 4-seater, but it's only got 2 doors. So the guy who's driving and puts me in the back, the drunk guy who's very sick now. I'm starting to not feel good, and he puts me in the back seat of a Cougar. And then I got my friend Bill sitting next to me, and the homecoming queen is in front of us. So we're driving for about 15 minutes, and I'm like, look, you know what, Mike, you're going to have to pull over. I'm not feeling really good. And he's like, I can't pull over. We're not going to be, I don't understand why you wouldn't be able to pull over. But eventually I'm like, look, Jenna, you got to open the window. I'm not feeling really well. So because it's a Cougar, she tries to open the window, and it's not on the door. The window buttons are in the middle console, like with some cars. So she couldn't find it. And I'm like, and I vomit and I throw up, and it was all over the window and all over her. Ugh. And that was the homecoming queen. She was homecoming queen that year. So I vomited on the homecoming queen. I don't say that with pride.
There's a little bit of pride in your voice. I actually hear just a slight amount of pride. I didn't even go so far to say smug.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll go with smug.
Yeah, she was the homecoming queen, and I wasn't the homecoming king, and I'll fucking show you.
I'll show you who's homecoming vomit.
Homecoming king. Ah!
So the funniest thing is that I also would do a bingo on Sunday with the guy who was driving. So he had to clean his car before his parents saw it the next morning. So he spent the night cleaning up my vomit out of the car, but like he spent a lot of time. He was so mad at me.
Rightfully so.
And he's yeah.
I mean, you don't want him to be like, this is no big deal.
No, and I bumped into
You should have seen diarrhea, man, I'm telling you. Last week, there was a guy in there, he just went to town on Taco Bell. You're not going to believe what I found in the back seat.
So what about you? What are some of your drinks?
All right, so the absolute worst I ever got sick. Worst I ever got completely annihilated. I had already come home. I was living in New Brunswick at the time, and I had already been drinking.
How old were you?
I was 20. All right, so I came home, and it was 4 in the morning. All the bars had closed. They had been like, all right, enough. Get out, right? So we came home and in typical Jersey fashion, we got to keep the party going, bro. Let's go, man. Come on, it's just getting started.
And sleep.
Right?
Sleep.
So
sleeping's for losers.
What are you? Very Trumpian, right?
Yeah.
Sleeping is for losers.
Yeah,
You're very dumb. Look at you. You gotta keep drinking. You gotta keep drinking. Come
if
on.
you sleep, you lose.
First one to fall asleep is a pussy. Everybody knows that. So anyway, I get home and it was my roommate at the time, and he was like, "Look, dude, I'm gonna fucking crash." I was like, "Dude, we gotta keep the party going." So by myself, I kept the party. I was like, "Come on, just one drink." It was we don't have any. We drank everything, and we're already annihilated. And in the apartment when we first moved in was a bottle of dry vermouth. Right?
Already.
It was there when we moved in.
Yeah.
As a gift from the previous tenants.
Haunted. You got a haunted bottle.
They were like, "We want nothing to do with this. You have it." All right. And I cracked open the seal. It was fresh. I mean, the Lord knows how long it had been there, right? I cracked open the seal, and I had a little bit of vodka left. Like, I don't know why, but like in that age, like when you're 20, 21, like you stash away booze like Ernest Hemingway. Like you're in the prohibition. Like, don't worry about it. Like behind the toilet, I got like a fifth of vodka that nobody knows about. All right. So, no, but I got a little bit of vodka. I poured some vodka in my solo cup because all the glasses were filthy. They were all in the sink. They'd been in there for weeks, maybe months. Right, so we pour it in a red Solo cup with a little bit of ice. I pour it in his red Solo cup with a little bit of ice, and that's just vodka. I'm like, all right, well, let's get the dry vermouth going. So I pour about half of the Solo cup. So now it's half vodka, half dry vermouth. Like they call that a Bayonne martini in some places.
It's just making me gag thinking.
And ice, like that's sophistication for us.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you want a martini? Here's your Solo cup.
Pinky up.
Right. So he took a sip. And he's like, look, I know I'm like shit faced, but like this is terrible. And I'm sitting there like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So I was drinking this, got completely annihilated. He was like, look, dude, I'm going to bed. I just sat there like a writer from the 60s. I took his Solo cup, poured it into mine, and now drank that down. And I was like, man, this dry vermouth is not bad once you get used to it. So then I poured a second cup, pure ice, pure dry vermouth, and I'm already smashed. Drank that, and then I didn't even make it to the toilet. I actually threw up in the bathtub.
Yeah.
And I just remember it was like, the whole time, like it was kind of like a geological dig of all the things I'd eaten and drank that night.
Oh, okay, because you could see the colors, you could see the gradation between the spinach and the beef.
It was like, because I remember
Not that you were eating spinach at the time.
It was like, so I don't remember eating spinach. Why is that even there? It's so weird. No, I remember I threw up. I never forgot this. It looked like the Exxon Valdez because I was drinking Guinness that night. So it was like, I was like, oh God. Like, there's no amount of Dawn dish soap that's going to save this tub. And I just remember as I was cleaning it the next day, it was like you could smell the dry vermouth in it because it had only been in my system for a little bit. And that was one of the worst. So I would say dry vermouth is, for my top 5, or just the top 5 in general, the worst things to get shit-faced to as a kid. Dry vermouth is up there. What was the thing? What did you get drunk to?
That was a Crystal Palace vodka.
Sorry.
Why this guy, I don't know really who the father was. He might have owned a bar or something. But Crystal Palace vodka is one of the lowest forms of vodka you can buy. You can find like $3.99 bottles of Crystal Palace. $3.99 some places.
So what we had, we used to have Pop-Off vodka.
Oh, yeah, Pop-Off. I've heard of that.
Pop-Off, and it was, they had the font in like Russian alphabet Russian font, and they had like the Kremlin behind you. Like, hey, if it's good enough for the Ruskies, it's good enough for me. And it's on sale right next to Natural Light. Dude, today's my lucky day, man.
My mother's name is Georgiana, and the first part of that is Georgie. So I always assumed that Georgie came from vodka. Like they had a bottle of Georgie. Let's name her Georgie. But she always hated her name. She's hated her name her whole life.
What a terrible thing to find out on her deathbed.
Right.
It's like, you're named after my favorite drink that was on sale.
It's so good. I had a situation when I was probably about 17. And this was at a friend's house. We'll call that friend Greg, because that was what his name is. And this was just like Greg's parents would let us just drink at the house. I guess there's a certain amount of safety in that, is letting your own, but that the lawsuits that could come out today, like I would never let my 17-year-old kids just drink and with other kids in the house and get drunk and go in the pool. It's amazing nothing terrible ever happened.
Right.
But one night I had 19 beers. I had 19 Coors Lights over about 6 or 7 hours. So there's video of me somewhere. Greg, if you have the video, please give it up.
Guys, send that in, Greg. We're going to put that on the next episode.
I'm going to be running for Congress next year, so I'm hoping to get that out of the fray.
Right, we're going to lead with that.
Right, so me, 19 beers, there's a video of it, and me just like on the floor of the bathroom. I drank 19 beers tonight. And I find it so hard to believe that I was actually able to do that. Like if I did that today, I'm dead.
I remember for me, I used to get smashed on Aftershock.
Oh God, yes.
Do you remember that? Where it was in the bottle,
yes.
like it had like these weird crystal,
it really shouldn't have been
coral formations at the bottom of the bottle.
It was illegal in 75 countries.
And I just remember it was one of those things. You're like, this is like you would never, as like in your 30s, like go out to a place and be like, "What are you drinking?" I'll have a aftershock with a little bit of orange juice, please.
Yeah, no.
Like you would never. It's marketed specifically towards
No,
people that are.
It makes me think of like 40 ounces. Just get like 40
Oh,
ounces
yeah.
and like I never, maybe one time in my life I drank a 40 ounce, but that's a lot of beer. That's 4
Oh,
beers
yeah.
and it's malt liquor.
So aftershock, I would say, like if you remember the bottle, remember like those crystal formations at
Yes.
the bottom. So we had that, and then I used to. This was my go-to. Was Goldschlager.
Yeah, Goldschlager.
I used to get annihilated.
That got me really sick in DC once.
And I remember, of course, the conversations that you would have, like, dude, if you took all the Goldschlager, like, I'm not saying I would do this, but if you took all the Goldschlager, dude, and you got, like, one of those, like, strainers, like, you know, we make the fucking spaghetti with, and we took that and we put it together and, like, we siphoned it together, bro, we could actually, like, pay for the next Goldschlager.
Yeah, at best, not taxes included.
Could you imagine just rolling into the liquor store, like, all right, that'll be 1925, hold on one second. I got a nice gold leaf with your name all over it, my friend. How you
It's
doing?
lovely though. It's a lovely.
Like,
leaf.
this is, what
And
is
you'd
this,
have to
gold tin
smelt
foil?
it together too.
Yeah, and
you
it was
smelt
just
it
like-
into a leaf, then you're back.
It was just hilarious. So I just remember like these idiotic conversations that we would have. So Goldschlager, I don't know if you ever did this. I'm sure you have. Did you ever do Jägermeister?
Oh yeah, Jägermeister. I used to do a drink called the Screaming Nazi, which was Rumpelmitz and Jägermeister, and it
Okay.
would like be like this bubbly, curdled, disgusting thing, and they called it a Screaming Nazi.
And the whole time,
I don't think that people drink it anymore. Nobody asks for that. I don't think.
I'm sure there are parts in New York
Oh,
that
yes.
people like, they come on in, what do you want to drink? Come on. What do you want? Come on, I know what drink you're having. The Screaming Nazi, my father, big fan of it. Come on.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is still the go-to Nazi. I think.
Dad, why do every time you go out you have the Screaming Nazi? Come on.
I think
What is in a Screaming Nazi?
Rumpelminz and
Just Rumpelminz?
no, it's Rumpelminz and the other thing I just
Jaeger.
In Jaeger, yeah, it's Rumpelminz.
That's-
And Jaeger.
And
Disgusting.
they just put it together.
Because Rumpelmitz is like a creamy thing, and then Jägermeister is this sort of muddied. It was a weird, and then it curdles.
So that reminds me of what else I used to have. I used to have the Irish car bombs.
Oh yeah, that's like one of the most popular. Yeah,
But
a Guinness with a shot of whiskey.
Yeah,
usually
Jameson
low level.
and Bailey's.
Okay, Jameson and Bailey.
Jameson and Bailey's, and you drop it in, and then you chug it back and smash your front two fucking
Yeah.
teeth on the.
It's one of my favorite ways to drink. Is actually a shot of whiskey, then like 2 Guinness. That's a good night. Anything more than that, and I'm gonna get sick.
It was-
just so you guys know if you ever want to take me out.
No, it was very hard to drink Guinness after the dry vermouth night.
oh,
Because it was the Exxon Valdez. Because every time you drank it, you're like, I wonder how this is going to come up later.
I think one of the number ones, and I think that would be 5. I think we'd actually have 5.
But just some honorable mentions we can have.
Zima. Zima's always bad. Zima's like Sprite if someone poured it over a homeless person and you had to drink it again.
Okay, so you're drinking Zima and you're getting smashed on that.
Yeah.
I remember having that. And it just you're like, yeah, I could easily have like 40 or 50.
Right.
Of these.
Is this water with a little
This is
sugar?
great, and then you could easily just get annihilated.
I don't know why it went away.
I'm assuming lawsuits,
Yeah, I think they tried to bring it back in the early 2000s.
kind of like Pepsi Clear. They were like, it went out of fashion.
It
for a
already
reason.
was clear too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was clear, but they were like, hey, I got an idea. We won't add the syrup and we'll sell it that way. And they're like, no, put the fucking syrup in, bro. I don't like my shit looking like water. I want to fucking see the syrup.
Or give me a jolt.
Or a
Give
jolt.
me the jolt with double the caffeine, double the sugar.
I used to, as I got a little bit older and my palate got a little bit more sophisticated, I used to drink Red Bull and vodka.
That's a popular one in the early 2000s also, 2010. I remember people doing that a lot.
And then
And then they would do a line of cocaine too, I believe.
he's off camera for a reason right now, folks. He's just cleaning out his sinus cavity. Some of the more stranger things that I got annihilated to. I remember my mom used to drink screwdrivers. That was like her drink of choice.
Yeah, that was probably the first drink I knew how to make. Pretty easy.
It's pretty easy.
Even
It's
me
pretty
as a
straightforward.
dyslexic can't screw that
You
one
can't screw that up. Orange juice and vodka. Well, don't worry about it.
How much vodka, how much orange juice? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Mix your
matter.
head.
Just enough to change the color. That's enough.
It's if.
Right. So I remember for a while I used to have screwdrivers because I think there's a period of your life where you're kind of bouncing around from drink to drink to try to find your drink.
Oh yeah, I still am. I'm almost 50.
Like, how you doing? Let me have a mudslide. No, that's not right. Let me have a strawberry daiquiri. I don't know. I don't know how the boys are going to feel about that.
Right, I do tend to now get what one might construe as the gayest drinks. Okay. I like the most colorful ones, the pretty ones, the aperitifs and aperols. I like I don't know. I'm not sure if I actually. My partner would have to tell me whether I actually like those or not. I forget which is.
He means his business partner.
My business partner.
His business partner. Yeah. They invest in crypto together, which is actually sponsored by our show right now. Go ahead.
Yeah. Melania Coin, sponsored by Melania Coin. We lost about 1,000 on Melania Coin last week,
but we're holding strong.
And we're not going to sell.
One other mention I would have would be Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Oh yeah,
because when that came out, also in that same category was apple cider.
Cider, that we were attacked by ciders after
I remember
that.
Cider
Angry
was
Orchard.
Yeah, you would drink that and you would just, you're like, dude, because it's like,
it's different.
It's like spicy applesauce.
Yeah,
it's great, dude.
Do you like Halloween? You'll love apple
And it was
cider.
a great thing to like invite people over, you invite your girl over, like, hey, how you doing? Hey, you want to have like some fucking Angry Orchard? Oh my God, this is
they would
great.
be excited because a cider is more of a girly drink.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, this is like way better
vodka
than like
shots.
Corona with like a lime. This is way better. So you're like, yeah, it's better, right?
You've embodied so many people I know in those moments.
Right.
Those 2 moments when you went from to the other guy.
Right.
I had a drink recently. I went to Colombia last year, and I went on a boat. We took a boat ride. My business partner. And we got on a boat, and they gave out free drinks. That was part of the thing, and they would give them out in cups with ice. And she had one, and I had one. She didn't really drink hers, and then she went to the bathroom, and she saw how they were cleaning them. But by the time she came back, I had 3 or 4. This was like at the end of the vacation. And these were probably, once again, like ginger ale and vodka. It was probably ginger ale and vodka. And I would imagine, again, the cheapest.
Right.
And we had a flight home like 2 days later. And 3 weeks after that, diarrhea. 3 weeks. 3 weeks? Every time I went to the bathroom, it was like, maybe this is the last time. Maybe this will be the last time. No, but it wasn't.
I feel like that might have been your Vanilla Sky moment. Like, you actually died. And
I was on a toilet seat in the middle of the city. Nobody's there.
Tech support! Tech support!
That's funny.
I would say the absolute, for me, like, I don't know how you would feel about this, like, the worst to get shit-faced to as a kid had to have been that dry vermouth.
Yeah.
I put that at number,
I think the worst was probably that time that I was at, with the school and going and doing the theater thing.
All right, so
vomiting on the homecoming.
All right, so we'll say that. So number 1, right out of the gates, you got to put dry vermouth to
Sure.
get shit-faced to.
Yeah.
So for number 2,
that was a combination of everything that this guy had at his wedding. It was vodka and whiskey, and I tried gin that night. It was disgusting.
So what would you say is like the worst number 2 to like?
I think Zima. Zima's really bad.
Zima's
pretty bad.
Is Zima worse than Mike's Hard Lemonade?
You know what? Because of nostalgia, I'd rather have a Zima right now than a Mike's Hard Lemonade. So I think I would rather have a Zima than a Mike's.
All right. So for number 3, we have a couple. We have Mike's Hard Lemonade. We have Angry Orchard.
Right. Those kind of fall into the same category somewhat.
And then
Zima at 2, dry vermouth is 1.
Dry vermouth is 1.
I don't think anyone should drink straight dry vermouth.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. As tempting as it is, I would hold off.
No matter how dry you like things. No matter how dry you like your humor.
Right. I would avoid drinking dry vermouth in a red Solo cup with ice.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Oh, that I guess that would have to be. It wasn't as a kid, but Columbia was pretty bad. That was a pretty bad situation. But I wasn't a child, although I was acting like a child.
All right, so
that was they made me act like it. That was the diarrhea is the worst.
All right, so and what were you drinking? What were you drinking?
Oh, that was. It's always vodka. I hate going to vodka. They were giving us vodkas and ginger ales. Like we could have as many as we want. I must have had 10, but they were like mostly ice, so I had a lot. But the ice was in a disgusing bin of ice.
That's what probably got you.
Oh, that's definitely what got me.
That's what got you.
Yeah, so that was, but yeah. As a 5-year-old, We could go. I haven't told this story yet, but I could tell it quick. On Mother's Day, I had a Shirley Temple. I was probably about 5 or 6. I was going down. I had like 3 or 4 of those Shirley Temples that day. It was Mother's Day. We were at the Pantry Diner on Long Island.
Right.
And it was packed, filled to the brim. Everybody, people everywhere. And again, I'm a young kid. Those 4 got me so sick that I ended up vomiting on a pregnant lady who was right next to me, vomiting in her bag, and my mother like ushered me out, and my family and everybody. I really ruined a lot of holidays. I would go with that. Let's go with that for 5. Jackie Gleason used to love stories about vomiting. He'd love hearing stories.
Oh, wait, who doesn't? It's always funny when you...
But he would do it. He would vomit on people and thought it was funny. And be like, "Ugh," and I'm like, ha ha ha. I never did that.
To the moon, Alice!
That was, we can't end all the bits
outtake.
with you vomiting, Jackie.
That's an outtake for Mission Impossible 1.
That would be great.
You know, for like...
And if we had you do it.
Right, yeah.
Or we had you do that plane thing, the plane...
Yeah, the wing walking. The wing walking.
I think that would be funny if we did that.
That would actually, to be honest with you, that would be a realism that I have not seen yet from Tom Cruise. He's spinning around before he punched the guy. He was... and then just like cap the guy. And right before he hits him, the other villain's like, he gets cracked. And he's like...
So like vomiting is his finishing move.
That's right. Like it's kind of like Mortal Kombat. Up twice, down twice, left, right, B-A, B-A.
I think on that note,
we're going to close it out. Thank you guys so much. That is our top 5. It has been an absolute pleasure. Tune in next time to hear our next top 5. All right? We will see you next time here on Top 5 with Frick and Ferretti. Woo!
Woo!